Students, will go to the next case. When the backfill is cohesive soil, and we are considering the active case. Still, we are considering the active case. The basic assumption in Rankin's theory is that the backfill is cohesionless. Later, it was extended to cohesionless. Now, let us see how we can try to find out the intensity of work pressure. Now, if this is the retaining wall, now if this is the backfill, which is a cohesive backfill, now we need to draw the pressure distribution diagram. Now let us consider the relationship between, now it's an active case. Now if I take any element, this element will be subjected to vertical pressure, which is vertical pressure is equal to sigma 1, and the horizontal pressure is sigma 3. Now let us try to draw a relationship between, now the relationship between the principal stresses is at plastic equilibrium. Sigma 1 is equal to sigma 3 tan square alpha plus 2c tan alpha. Now let us substitute for sigma 1. Sigma 1 is equal to sigma v. This is equal to, now if this is the height z, then this is equal to gamma into z. Therefore, this is gamma into z is equal to sigma 3 is equal to the intensity of passive active work pressure PA into tan square alpha plus 2c tan alpha. Now, what I am interested in the expression for active work pressure. Now let us write PA tan square alpha is equal to, this is gamma z minus 2c tan alpha. Now we'll divide throughout by tan square alpha, it becomes gamma z by tan square alpha minus 2c by tan alpha, and the denominator got tan square alpha. This gets cancelled, therefore this becomes gamma z. When you take tan square alpha to the denominator, it becomes cot square alpha into gamma z minus 2c cot alpha. So this is nothing but, you know what is cot square alpha? Cot square alpha is equal to Ka into gamma z minus 2c cot alpha. Now students, look here, in the previous case we had only this, now this is the additional thing. Therefore the pressure is getting reduced by a quantity minus 2c cot alpha, and you should observe there is no z or a depth term. Therefore this is going to be constantly reduced because this expression is called the Bell's equation. This is called the Bell's equation. Now let us substitute the limits. Now when I substitute the limits, what happens to when z equal to 0? Z equal to 0 at the ground surface. Now what happens to this expression? PA equal to 0 minus 2c cot alpha. Therefore, I will have a negative pressure. If I try to draw the pressure distribution diagram, I will have a negative pressure. Then when z is equal to h, which is the height of the retaining structure, then my intensity of pressure becomes Ka gamma H minus 2C cot alpha. Therefore, I will get a pressure distribution like this. This is the negative pressure distribution, this is the positive pressure distribution. Now this quantity is 2C cot alpha. Now there is a point where your pressure is going to become zero. It is crossing from negative to, let us call this as Z0. Now to find out that Z0, now let us substitute, let Z is equal to Z0 when PA equal to 0. So let us substitute this in this expression, PA equal to 0, therefore what happens, this becomes 0, which is equal to Ka gamma into Z0 minus 2C cot alpha, or Z0 equal to, okay, K is nothing but cot square alpha, therefore it becomes minus, this is 2C cot alpha divided by gamma into K is nothing but cot square alpha, or it becomes 2C by gamma. Now this gets cancelled, cot goes to the numerator, it becomes tan alpha, therefore the expression for where the pressure is going to become 0. Now we have got a depth up to which there is no pressure, because we got negative pressure, and let us call this depth as HC. Now HC is equal to where your pressure is going to be nullified, this is going to get nullified, this pressure and this pressure is going to get nullified. This is the net pressure. HC is equal to 2 times of Z0 equal to 2 into 2 becomes 4 C by gamma into tan alpha. This depth HC is known as the critical depth. Now, students, you would like to know what is the physical significance, because whenever you study something, you need to know what is the use of this critical depth. Now, let us say you are making an excavation for constructing a foundation. Now, when I make an excavation, now if it is a cohesionless soil, can I make a vertical excavation? It starts running. This one tries to run and will form its natural slope. But if you have got a clay material, okay, now when you got cohesionless soil, okay, if it is cohesionless soil, we try to provide some support, temporary supports. So this is called bracing. We try to provide bracing. These are wooden supports. Now, without these supports, if it is a cohesionless soil, now instead of a cohesionless soil, I want a cohesionless soil, I don't need any of these supports. This support system is not required, the bracing is not required. Temporarily, I can have a vertical excavation to a certain depth. This depth is called the critical depth. To this particular depth, so if I know my properties, if I know only the cohesion, and if I know what is the angle, see if it is an intact clay, what is meant by an intact clay? Intact saturated clay in that case, alpha is equal to what happens to phi? Phi is equal to phi u equal to 0. That indicates that alpha is equal to 45 degrees. Plus pi by 2 becomes 0, therefore it is 45 degrees. Therefore, tan alpha equal 1 because tan 45 is 1. Then once you have this, you get Hc is equal to 4c by gamma into 1. Now if I know my unit, the in situ density, if I know my density, if I know my soil property C, that is the cohesion intercept, I can find out to what depth I can make a safe vertical excavation without any support for time being, for 1 day, 2 day, or even up to a week. If it is not going to rain, there is no problem, you can have a vertical excavation. This is the, now we have seen in an active case, okay, for a backfill which is cohesive, what is going to happen? You are going to have a negative pressure. Now what happens? Usually clays, when it dries, okay, there will be some tension cracks. These are called tension cracks. Okay. Now usually some portion of the backfill, it will not have any contact, it loses its contact. Okay. Therefore this can be found out what is the depth of tension cracks. This usually will be up to Z0. So one can find out the depth of tension cracks. In that case, what happens actually, your pressure distribution, okay, I shouldn't have analyzed this, okay, the pressure distribution is something like this. Therefore what happens, you have this negative and this positive thing. Okay, now to that depth, okay, I can neglect this portion. Okay, now usually what happens when I neglect this, when the tension cracks develop, okay, I can neglect this portion and I can find out the net pressure will be only this. The net pressure will be only because of the positive pressure, and my net pressure will be something like this. And my lateral pressure is only because of the positive pressure distribution, and this can be neglected. In the numerical examples, if they done the tension cracks are not developed, either you can assume and do it, or otherwise you can take the entire pressure distribution diagram and the net pressure is going to get reduced. That is the additional thing you need to have in mind when you are trying to work out problems there. Now in this we have got certain cases. Now let us say now I got a backfill which is cohesive and I have got a uniform surcharge. Now if I have this kind of a problem, now how to draw the pressure distribution diagram? Pressure distribution diagram will be difficult because we don't know, it depends upon the intensity of the pressure, which is Q. Now we will try to write the expression. The expression for now we will have a constant pressure this is the constant pressure. This is for the surcharge KQ, and for the this is for the backfill. This is for the surcharge. Please understand, textbooks don't give this kind of differentiation, and you will not be having also such information. I am giving all this information. This is because of the surcharge, this is because of the backfill. Now I need to take the summation of these two and get it. Okay. Now it depends upon this value. When I sum up, I will not know how the pressure distribution is going to come, but I can write it analytically. Now I know sigma 1 is equal to sigma 3 tan square alpha plus 2c tan alpha. Now this is for the backfill. Now sigma 1 is, what is sigma 1? Sigma 1 is gamma into z plus, which is equal to, this is PA into tan square alpha plus 2c tan alpha. Anytime you can remember this expression and try to, the intensity of earth pressure is equal to, this is Ka gamma z minus 2c cot alpha. This is the intensity of pressure for the backfill. Now for the surcharge, uniform surcharge, we have the pressure is PA because of the surcharge is equal to K into Q. Now I need to add these two. Therefore, the summation of these two is Ka gamma z minus 2c cot alpha plus K into Q. K is nothing but cot square alpha. I can Q. What is Ka? Cot square alpha into gamma z minus 2c cot alpha plus K is nothing but cot square into Q. Now this is the expression for the intensity of earth pressure. So please understand, you need to know the differentiation. PA or P small p is meant for intensity of earth pressure, intensity of active earth pressure. If I write PA suffix A, then it is active earth pressure, otherwise it is passive earth pressure, okay, depending upon the case. And capital P is the total thrust. If it is active case, it is PA, otherwise it is P small p. Okay. Therefore, you need to differentiate. This is the expression for intensity of earth pressure. Intensity of active earth pressure. Students, you have to understand, when I simplify this, I need to find out when PA becomes 0. Therefore, let Z is equal to Z0 when PA becomes 0. When I substitute here, what happens? This becomes 0 cot square alpha into gamma into Z0 minus 2c cot alpha plus cot square alpha into Q. Now this gets cancelled, okay, because, sorry, this is 2, only 2 gets cancelled, square gets cancelled. Therefore it is gamma into Z0 into cot alpha minus 2 plus cot alpha into Q. Now I can simplify this. Z0 is equal to, okay, this becomes plus 2 minus cot alpha into Q. Then when I divide this, okay, whole thing divided by cot alpha, this becomes 2 tan alpha minus, this gets cancelled, minus Q. Therefore, this is the expression for, that is, at a depth Z0 from the ground level, your pressure is going to become 0. It is going to cross the line. Okay, this is the first case. Now let us go to the next case. Now if you got some surcharge, it's clear. Okay, now if it is submerged, okay, you got some. Now let us take some case like that, where we have submerged vehicle. To some height, we have the water table, and some height, okay, it is dry. Let this be H1. This is H2. In this case, how will be the pressure distribution and what are the? Okay, this is very clear. We will have some negative pressure distribution. We don't know how it crosses. It goes something like this. Now, what will be this value? What will be this value? This will be negative, this will be positive. Now this is going to be different. You are not going to have, because it is not going to go with the same slope. Okay, the slope is going to change. Let me show it again. This is going to be something like this, and this is going to be something like this. What is this pressure distribution? What is this value? What will be this value? This will be. Now we can use the expression PA is equal to Ka gamma Z minus 2C cot alpha. Now this is a dry soil, this is submerged, this is submerged. Therefore, this portion, now when Z is equal to 0, when Z is equal to 0, what happens to the PA? PA becomes minus 2C cot alpha. Therefore, this is 2C cot alpha. Now what happens to this? When Z is equal to H1, then PA becomes Ka gamma into H1 minus 2C cot alpha. Therefore, let me call this as not PA, I will call it as P1. So that, let me call it as P1. Now what happens to this value? Let me call this as P2. Now below you got submerged condition, therefore what happens? This is not affected by. Now where is your gamma term? The gamma term is there only in the first term. Therefore P2 becomes Ka gamma dash into H2 minus 2C cot alpha. That is the value of P2, and this, let me call it as P3. This is small P3. Now be careful that you are going to use submerged unit weight, and P3 will be gamma W into H2. And you also have to take the second height where it is the submerged height, and here also you are taking, you are not multiplying with any coefficient here because water pressure is uniform throughout in any direction. This is the second case. Now let us go to the third case. In case you have two layers, you got C1 and C2, this is gamma 1 and gamma 2. How does this look? Now here we will have the negative pressure to this height, okay, you are going to have some value. It is going to continue. Now what is this value? This is negative, this will be positive. Now this value, let me call it as P1, let me call this as P2, okay. We can find out these values. Now in this case what happens, we need to find out what is the, this one, negative pressure is minus, that is 2C cot alpha, and for this what happens, this pressure is Ka gamma H1. Here we are going to use, okay, here we are going to use C1, okay, this will be also C1, therefore minus, let me write here as P1 only, and this is P2. At the top, okay, when Z is equal to 0, we have minus 2C1 cot alpha, because at the top we have got C1, and Z is equal to H1. What happens? Let us say this is H1, this is H2. This becomes minus 2C. That P1 is equal to Ka gamma H1 minus 2C1 cot alpha. Now, when Z is equal to H means at this depth, then what happens? That becomes P2 is equal to Ka gamma 1 is there, gamma, this becomes gamma 2 H1 to this gamma 1, sorry, plus Ka gamma 2 H2 minus 2 C2 cot alpha. Now what are the differences you need to identify here? See, this is gamma 2 Fahrenheit H2. This is gamma 1 Fahrenheit H1. This is Fahrenheit H1. Then I am going to use C2. Therefore, these are the changes for P2. P2 means, okay, it is the complete, okay, the complete is P2, sorry. This is. Therefore, when you got a layered soil system with different properties for an active case with cohesive soil. This is the active case, cohesive soils. Therefore, we can solve varieties of problems. You have seen how when there is a structure for an active case with cohesive backfill, you have seen how when you got a submerged condition, partly dry and part of this thing is submerged, and we finally saw the case where you got layered system with the different soil properties. Okay, now we'll next portion will continue with the other cases. Okay, we'll try to work out some numerical examples on this passive active case with the cohesive soils using the Bell's equation. Then we'll try to discuss about the next is the passive case. When you got a passive case, both cohesionless soils and cohesive soils, we'll try to also see how it's a very simple case because you already have studied cohesionless soils. Cohesive soils is just an extension. Instead of Ka, it becomes Kp, and in case of cohesive soils, this becomes positive. That's all. It's going to interchange. This will be, instead of that, it will have Kp gamma H plus 2C cot alpha. Therefore, in a passive case, the pressure is going to be throughout increased by value 2C tan alpha. Instead of cot alpha, it will be tan alpha. Students, now let us work out numerical examples on active case backfill is cohesive. Now let us take a case where we got a backfill. It has got it's 8 meters high retaining structure, which is equal to 8 meters. Then it retains a clay backfill with C or C dash is equal to 15 kilonewton per meter square, and pi dash is equal to 15 degrees. The unit weight has been given as 18 kilonewton per meter cube. It is asking you to find out the active thrust. Total active thrust on the retaining wall. Assume tension cracks are formed. Now, how to solve this problem? Now, the active earth pressure PA, intensity of, can write down intensity of active earth pressure is given by PA is equal to Ka gamma Z minus 2C cot alpha.
And then start.
The intensity of active pressure is given by this expression. Now, we need to find out when Z is equal to 0, what is the pressure. When Z is equal to 0, okay, what happens to this? You get PA is equal to minus 2C cot alpha. What is alpha here? Because phi has been given, alpha is equal to 45 degrees plus pi by 2. Phi is 15, therefore is 45 plus 7.5 Therefore it becomes 52.5 degrees. Now you have got this alpha. And also you also have to find out what is Ka. Ka is equal to cot square alpha. Cot square alpha, you find out what is this value. I have calculated cot square alpha. Either you can find out as cot square alpha, which is equal to 1 minus of sin phi by 1 plus sin phi. Either way you can find out. Okay, the value of K is 0.588. Now see, students, one of the numerical examples we had done, when phi is 30 degrees, it was 0.33. And when phi has decreased, K is increasing. What is the significance? When the soil becomes loose, when it is having less phi, indicate that it is loose, it is thrusting upon the retaining wall, therefore the coefficient is more, therefore more pressure is going to come. Now this value works out to be 23 kilonewton, 23 kilonewton per meter square. Now when Z is equal to H is equal to 8 meters, PA is equal to, substitute and you can get the value equal to 61.67 kilonewton per meter square. Now we'll have to find out what is the depth at which let Z is equal to Z naught when PA equal to 0. So when I substitute here, I get what is the value of Z naught. Z naught comes to, it is nothing but 2C by gamma into tan alpha. This works out to 2.17. So this is 8 meters. H value is 8 meters. Which is equal to 8 meters at less than 3 meters. Okay, at around 2 meters. This is 2 meters. 4, 6, 8. Okay, approximately here. Okay, 2.1. Now the pressure is going to become 0 at this point, and it is going to cross this and go to a positive. This is negative. This depth is found out, right? This is right, and this value is 61.67 kilonewton per meter square. This value is 23 kilonewton per meter square. Now, he has told when tension cracks develop, okay, what is going to happen? I have told you, you have to take only the positive pressure distribution diagram. When the tension cracks develop, okay, this is the meaning. Already I told you, when the tension cracks develop, okay, you are going to neglect this portion and you are going to consider only the positive pressure distribution and find out what is the lateral thrust. This is the intensity of active pressure, not intensity, total thrust. Now we have to write, since tension cracks will develop, we consider only the positive pressure distribution diagram to find the total active thrust. Students will also have to write in the test and in the examination we have to write all these statements. Now we know this is H minus of Z naught. Now what is H minus Z naught? This is 8 meters minus 2.1, I think it's 2.17. Find out that value. Once you have this H1 as Z0, I can find out what is the area of the pressure distribution diagram. PA is equal to half into base is 61.67 into H minus of Z0. Okay, that is half into base into height. Okay, base into height. Okay, the base is okay. This is the total thrust. It will be kilonewton per meter run. Okay, what is the height of this acting at Y bar? Acting at Y bar, so many meters, that is H minus of Z0 divided by 1/3 of the height of the triangle from the base. These statements are very essential. So let me check what is the value. Okay, total thrust is 179, 179.8, and this value I won't go. You can work on that value. Now we'll go to different problem. I'll try to just give the problem and tell you how to solve that. You can, based on the clue and the hint I'm going to give you, you can solve the problems. Numerical examples. Students will work out a numerical example for a retaining wall with a vertical back and having a layered system of backfill material. Now in this case, we have 3 layers. Each layer is 5 meters. Layer 1, layer 2 and layer 3. Now I'll write the properties. The unit weight kilonewton per meter cube, then the cohesion kilonewton per meter square, and the value of phi. For the first layer it is 20, it is a cohesionless soil, and for the second layer the unit weight is 18, it has cohesion of 20 kilonewton per meter square and phi value of 20, and third layer you got unit weight 16 and C is 35 and this is 0. Now we need to determine the total thrust. If we draw the pressure distribution, pressure variation diagram, each layer is 5 meter thick. Now, what is going to happen at the interface has to be understood. Now, first for the first layer, now we have got phi is equal to 35. Let us try to find out what is now we have to first find out Ka1 is equal to 1 minus of sin phi by 1 plus sin phi. Now the value of Ka1, because it's an active case, considering active case, is asked to find out what is the total active thrust, Pa. Now let us try to, now what is the layer 1? Okay, it is just cohesionless soil, Ka1 into gamma into Z1. Now let us write the variation of the depth Z1. From here it is Z2, from here it is This becomes easy for you to understand. Z1 varies from 0 to 5 meters, Z2 varies from 0 to 5 meters, and Z3 also varies from 0 to 5 meters. Now let us substitute the limit when Z1 equal to 0, what happens to PA becomes 0. Then when Z1 is equal to 5 meters, PA becomes K1 0.27 into gamma 1. Okay, write gamma 1. Gamma 1 is 20 into Z1 is 5 meters. You get a value of 27 kilonewton. This is the variation. Now what I'll do is I'll try to erase this so that I can draw the pressure variation. Now let us use this will be a triangle pressure distribution like this. Now let us go to this value is 27. Okay, now to draw a qualitative diagram, I think we need to. Now let us go to layer 2. For layer 2, what will be the value of Ka2? Ka2 is equal to 1 minus of sine, let us use sine pi over 1, pi 2 divided by 1 plus sine pi 2. Now phi value is 0, therefore what happens to, phi value is 25, okay, now phi 2 is equal to 25 degrees, therefore K2 works out to 0.41. Now let us write an expression, PA is equal to, now what's happening here, now we'll have to use, okay, a different value of Ka, therefore it will be Ka2 into gamma 1 into Z1 plus Ka2 into gamma 2 into Z2. Since it is a cohesive soil, see here this is having cohesion, therefore I have to write minus 2C into cot alpha. Now at the interface, what's happening? Okay, Z1 is equal to 5 meters, Z2 is equal to 0. At this position Z2 is just starting from here. Therefore, PA will be, this is the intensity of pressure, Ka2 is 0.41 into gamma 1, what is the value of gamma 1? It is 20 into Z1 is 5 plus this is becomes 0 minus 2 into C is, the value of C is 20 into cot alpha. Alpha is nothing but alpha is equal to 45 degrees plus 5 by 2, here it is 45 plus 25 divided by 2, so it becomes 12.5, 45 plus 12.5 is 47.5, 57.5. Substitute this value, okay, you get value equal to 15.52. See this negative sign, because of this negative sign what is happening? There is a reduction in pressure. See this value, therefore you will have a reduction in pressure. Okay, this will be the value. Okay, now from this is 27 point, no, this is 27.0 and this value is 15.52. Okay, now it's understood. Okay, I will not write here because it becomes too cumbersome. Now let us go to the layer 3. When you go to the layer 3, what is the value of Ka3? Now what is the value of phi here? Phi is 0, phi 3 is 0. 1 mass of sine phi 3 divided by 1 plus sine phi 3. Therefore what happens? This becomes 0, this also becomes 0, therefore it becomes 1, unity. Now let us try to write an expression. Pa is equal to, now we need to use the value of Ka3 for third layer, gamma 1 into Z1 plus we have K3 into gamma 2 into Z2 for the second layer, for the first layer Z1, second layer Z2, but only thing is you need to use, instead of K1 or K2 you are using K3 plus, no this, plus K3 into gamma 3 into then Z3 minus 2C into cot alpha. Now we'll have to use the value, we can call this as say C3, okay, because this we call it as C2, this is C3 and C1 is 0 here because we don't have cohesion. The third layer cohesion is there. Now once you substitute, okay, at the interface what happens, okay, now when Z is equal to Z1 equal to 5 meters, Z2 is equal to 0 meters, Z3 is also equal to 0 meters, then it becomes, this is at the interface, this is at the interface between layer 2 and layer 3, okay, between second and third layer. So what is the pressure at this position? Then we get, on substitution, P is equal to 120 kilonewton per meter square. Now look here. Now this one, I think we also missed one more thing. When you try to substitute Z2 is equal to 5 meters, you get the value. This is 52.42. Now this becomes 120 at this interface. This is 120. Next, when Z1 is equal to 5 meters, Z2 is equal to 5 meters, and Z3 is equal to also 5 meters. This is at the bottom of the wall at this position. Now what will be the pressure? PA becomes 200 kilonewton per meter square. Therefore this continues like this. Okay, lack of space, I will leave it here. This becomes 200. Therefore this is the pressure variation. Now at this interface from 27 it is coming to I think 15 point. It is 15.52. So that is the difference. Now in case, students you need to understand, in case you had all 3 years cohesionless layers, okay, you got a cohesionless soils, then the diagram depends upon the value of phi 1 and phi 2. Okay, if this, let us take that case, okay, theoretical case. Now let us say I got phi 1 is say 20 degrees, phi 2 is say 30 degrees, then third layer phi 3 is say 25 degrees. Now what happens to the pressure distribution? You don't have cohesion, okay, you got only a cohesionless material, but the phi value is changing like this. At this interface, okay, what happens when there is a lesser value of phi? Okay, this pressure distribution, what happens? It gets reduced. Because when the phi increases, the pressure gets reduced. Now it will be something like this. Now because again compared to phi 2, phi 3 is reducing, therefore there will be an increase in pressure, it will be something like this. Is the pressure distribution for a layered system when you got only cohesionless material. And you have seen how we have got both cohesion and cohesionless material, how we can get the pressure distribution. This is the variety of problems we can expect for the examination. You need to be prepared. We should know what are the properties given. We should draw the proper diagram. First you need to develop an expression for the intensity of pressure. Take all the properties into consideration. Then once you have the expression, substitute the limits and try to find out what is the when z is equal to 0 and z equal to whatever value of the first layer. Then similarly for the second layer, for the third layer. Therefore at the interface what is going to happen, you need to be very careful. Now we'll go to the passive case. Students, we have been seeing all along Rankine's method, only active case. Now we'll go to a passive case. Now what happens when you got a passive case? Now let us consider cohesionless backfill. Now you got a retaining structure. Now this is C is equal to 0, but passive case. What's happening here? The retaining wall is moving towards the backfill, therefore your pressure is going to increase. Now if I take the element here and this is the depth Z, now what will be the pressure distribution? Well, it depends upon, this is your lateral pressure, this is sigma h, this becomes your major principal stress, and your vertical stress, which is the minor principal stress, which is equal to gamma into Z. Now let us try to draw this pressure distribution diagram. First find out the relationship. Now what is sigma 1? Sigma 1 is sigma h, or sigma h, which is equal to Pp. In this case it is Pp, the passive pressure, which is equal to sigma 3 is gamma into Z into tan square alpha plus 2c tan alpha. Now I know what is this value. This is nothing but Kp into gamma Z plus 2c tan alpha. But your C is 0, therefore this becomes Kp gamma Z. Now what is the value of Kp? Always Kp is greater than Ka. Therefore what happens? The pressure distribution diagram will be qualitatively the same, because when I substitute the limits, when Z equal to 0, I get Pp is equal to 0. When Z is equal to H, Pp is equal to Kp gamma H. Therefore I will get my pressure distribution like this. This is the positive pressure distribution diagram, and the active thrust or the passive thrust will be, this is Pp, this is capital Pp, and this will be at a distance y bar from the base. This is triangle, therefore it will be h by 3. This is similar to your active case. Only thing is the value is going to be different because Kp is greater than Ka. Otherwise there is no change. Now let us go to, if you have got a surcharge, all things remain same. Okay, there is nothing difference in this. Okay, you got Q. Then what happens? You will have an addition thing, Kpq throughout. All things remain same in a passive case. Now let us go to a cohesive soil, cohesive backfill, passive case. Now in this case, all the cases can be solved here. Now we'll take the first case. Your sigma 1 is equal to sigma 3 tan square alpha plus 2c tan alpha. Students, okay, sigma 1 is nothing but your PP, sigma 3 is gamma z tan square alpha plus 2c tan alpha. So this is not becoming 0, therefore this is going to be an additional term, therefore this is going to be Kp gamma z plus 2c tan alpha. When we'll substitute the limits, when z is equal to 0, what happens to your Pp? It becomes positive pressure, then z is equal to h, but Pp is equal to Kp gamma h plus 2c tan alpha. Therefore, you are going to have a pressure distribution like this. You don't have any negative pressure distribution. We will have a positive pressure distribution which is equal to 2c tan alpha. In the previous case, we had, in the active case, minus 2c cot alpha. Here it is positive 2c tan alpha, and this value is what you have written here. This quantity is your value of. Therefore, you are going to have a trapezoidal pressure variation. Now, in case you got a surcharge load, in case you have got a surcharge load, which is in the second case, you will have the pressure because of the surcharge. You will have a uniform pressure distribution like this. The addition. This is a problem with this. That is too smooth. Kp into Q. You will have the additional pressure. This is the additional pressure. One can find out the thrust. Now, to find out the thrust, you can divide into, in the first case, you can divide into a triangle and a rectangle. This is a rectangle, this you call it as P1, this is P2. Then you don't have this, okay, when you don't have such in the first case. I can find out what is P1 and P2, and I can find out what is the line of action of this P1 and P2. I can find out the lateral and thrust as the resultant of these two. The resultant of these two is the intensity of passive pressure. This will be acting at y bar from the base. One can find out that. When you got a surcharge, okay, we will be having an additional this thing. Then we will have one more addition of this rectangle. You can call this as this will be P3. You can add P1 plus P2 plus 3 P3. You get the total passive pressure, and I can find out this is acting at, because this is a rectangle, this is also a rectangle, it will be acting at the same distance. Y1 and Y2 will be same. Okay, this will be Y3. Y1 and Y3 will be same, and Y2 will be the 1/3 of the height of the, because it's a triangle. This is all simple cases similar to your active case. Only thing is you are going to have, instead of Ka, you will have Kp. Let us take one problem on this passive case. There is a retaining wall along with surcharge. It's a very simple case. This solves the this Q is 50 kilonewton per meter square and H is 6 meters, and you got phi dash equal to 15 degrees, gamma equal to 19 kilonewton per meter cube, and C dash is equal to 40 kilonewton per meter square. This is a causing factor. Now, passive case. This is passive case. Now, what happens to the pressure distribution diagram? Because of the backfill. This is the pressure distribution diagram. In fact, this may be more. Okay, this is the inclination qualitatively. This should be something like this. And because of the surcharge, we will have this. This is because of the surcharge. This is Kp into Q. This is 2C tan alpha. This is Kp into gamma into H. One can find out all these values. We can divide this into rectangle and triangle. I can find out what is the direction between from right to left. This is, let me call this as P1 for this rectangle, and for this rectangle there is one more, that is P2. Then, or I can take this complete as this two. Okay, I can take it as P1 and P1 only. I can take this as P1, and this I can take it as P2, because this forms a big rectangle. Okay, now this will be acting at, this is not good, this is, let me use a color which is more visible. Okay, this is Y1, this is Y2. I can find out the resultant thrust PP. Okay, PP is equal to P1 plus P2. Now, since I know all these values, I can quantify it and I can try to find out what is the total thrust. I can also find out what is the action of Y from the base. This is a simple numerical example. All cases are simple, provided you understand, you draw a proper diagram, write down the values, draw the pressure distribution diagram. You have to first develop an expression for your intensity of pressure, then go on substituting the limits, then you get your values. Once you get your values, you can draw a qualitative diagram and solve the problem. It is a very simple case. Earth pressure is a very simple chapter and you can work out numerical examples. Now, to summarize this, before we go to the next Coulomb's method, we have to understand that Rankine's method is a simple method where you are considering the back of the retaining wall is smooth, it is vertical. In case you have got an inclined back, you can also find out, but the back is smooth. That is one important assumption. And second assumption is that the backfill is either horizontal or inclined, but it is a plane surface. Now we have solved simple cases. In case you have got any difficulty, you can look into the standard textbooks. You can take varieties of problems and you can solve. I will send you the certain problems for your as an exercise. You can solve them, and we'll go to the next type of thing. That is the next theory. That is Coulomb's theory. Practically, back can never be smooth. It will have friction. Therefore, the wall friction has to be considered. And Coulomb's thing, we will try to see what are the assumptions in Coulomb's theory. And based on those assumptions, there is a condition for it to for the lateral pressure to be maximum. There is a condition. Now we will try to derive an expression for the condition, not an expression, to derive that condition. To what condition you are going to have maximum earth pressure, and later we will try to solve graphical problems using Coulomb's theory. We got beautiful two methods, Kalman's graphical method and Rabin's graphical method. We got different cases in that. We will try to solve beautiful numerical examples. In the next session, I am going to continue and explain all those type of numerical examples and also the theory behind it, that is the Coulomb's theory.